I find the beach, I find a pig, and I find out we're not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm Aubrey. I've been living on a small boat for about 6 years. I recently bought a pirate ship, and right now she's waiting for masts and rigging in Washington. So in order to earn a few bucks to pay for the project, we've taken on a boat flip. It's a 1996 37 Hunter. Thank you so much to our patrons for making these videos possible. Another great way to support us is to hit the subscribe button.
What are you doing?
Oil change.
Usually we do maintenance before we pull up and head out, and we had big plans to leave tomorrow. This oil change is about to turn into a project we didn't sign up for.
It's that time again?
That time again.
Oil change time?
Oil change time!
Now, amongst boat owners, we call this the old can of worms. Squirrel is about to break the bad news.
Try to tackle a little bit of a service here in the Bahamas because you can see on the heat exchanger side that the two end caps, there must have been some leaking there.
So here's the bad news. The end caps are leaking on the starter and the engine mounts, which is a ticking time bomb.
On closer inspection, there is a little bit of a aluminum corrosion where the end caps mount, and it's kind of recessed back quite a bit, so there's no flat mating surface. Maybe just gonna have to do a patch job for now till we can find and track down a whole new exhaust manifold piece. So I think what the main reason why this sort of corrosion occurred was because the zinc's inside the engine, and when the engine was turned off last, they didn't flush it with fresh water. So I think salt water just sat in there and ate its way through.
This means we'll be staying in Green Turtle Key a little bit longer than expected.
This is Go Fast juice.
Oh, gross.
How much dog hair? Did the dog go live in there?
It doubles as a dog crate.
Searle removes the heat exchanger assembly. And then I feel like an official sitting duck. This is Andy. He's an aircraft mechanic and is lending us a few tools and some know-how.
This is what happens when we break bolts.
See, we're mushroomed. And we look kind of centered, so let's keep going.
He's also somewhat of a local here on Green Turtle, and we're hoping he'll be able to help us find a new heat exchanger assembly.
So for those of you watching us on the Garmin InReach on Patreon, I've gotten a few messages saying, why aren't you guys moving? Well, this is why. We are looking for some parts to fix the Yanmar on site, which is a little bit difficult in the Bahamas. But in the meantime, we are definitely enjoying the beaches. So cross your fingers for us. We are on the hunt for parts.
As it should turn out, on this 3JH2E, the exhaust manifold is a very hard part to come by. They no longer make this engine.
I want to put a unicorn horn on the head right here. On an eyeball.
Okay, so we wire brushed as much as I could, and I chipped away at all the bad material here. So right now I've got clean, fresh aluminum all around this edge here. I am gonna hit it with some acetone next, and then I've got this cold cure slow set steel JB weld, and we're gonna mix that up. There are O-rings that are supposed to seal the two sides. Those O-rings we do not have. I've just got RTV gasket maker, which we're gonna use to try seal these things up even better.
So we're going to do a field repair with good old-fashioned JB weld until we get back to the States. All right, now it's time for Arts and Crafts Hour.
While we wait for this JB weld to dry, we're gonna go explore the island. So we're gonna rent a golf cart over at Brendel's and go check out some beaches. Let's go.
While we wait for our experiment to dry, we decided to rent a golf cart from Brendel's, which will run you about $60 per day, plus fuel. We bit the bullet and drove away with number 15. Here you drive on the left side, and don't worry about the speed limit. This baby doesn't exceed a slow trot. Well, the first order of business today is finding some propane. I think that might be a little bit of a challenge. So we're gonna head into Macintosh's bakery here, which seems like a pretty odd place to find propane, but let's give it a try. How do you feel? Do you feel like we're gonna get lucky?
Or donut, maybe.
They do in fact have propane here on the island, but only on Saturdays. And today is not Saturday, today is Monday. So I think we're gonna have to travel to Marsh Harbor for that. So we'll tick it off the list for now because there's nothing we can do.
No more coffee.
I'll kill you dead.
We stop into the hardware store to see if we can find a few bits and bobs for a project. It's pretty slim pickings here. My advice, if you think you might need it, bring it. Thankfully, we were able to at least find a bit of coolant. The tour continues as we hunt for the best beach, taking us by the sports courts, cemetery, and the most cheery local jail I've ever seen. Yep, it's Pepto Pink. We decided on the road less traveled. This beautiful beach is on the northeast side of the island and was recommended by some of the locals. We were not disappointed. This beach looks out over the Atlantic, and the water is clear and blue. Now it's time to find out if our JB weld will be enough to get this thing going again. Fingers crossed.
So we're back and it's cured a bit, but it's still a little bit soft, so now it's the appropriate time to try pull the end caps off.
Finding new and creative ways to use our fillet knives for things other than fish. Nailed it.
That's good for now. That beeswax definitely worked nicely. So we had great success with getting the epoxy, the JB weld, the steel set slow cure to set nice and have made beautiful seals, but that's not enough. We're gonna have to use some gasket maker. I've got the blue stuff on the boat, which is perfectly fine. It's coolant safe and it can go up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. So no issue with that. I'm gonna put some of that on. You gotta let it cure a little bit before you actually torque it down. We're gonna have a watertight coolant system.
For an old exhaust manifold, I think she looks pretty sexy.
With the current setup, I could sand it down, make it look a lot better, but we have a great friend that has been able to find us a whole bunch of spare parts for a really good price. So this is just gonna hold for a while. I know it's actually gonna do perfectly fine.
Now, like the true MacGyver he is, he will add the final layer of goo, the gasket maker. He's adding the blue because we didn't have the red. At this point, I have pretty high hopes.
It's also not too necessary to wipe it all off, because once it's dry you can just take a craft knife, a razor blade, and you can just cut off the excess.
Searle now mounts the repaired manifold back into place and plumbs the engine. Now let's find out if she comes to life.
We gave Aubrey a job. You bottle water inside.
Fire in the hole.
It's alive! Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Now it's time to celebrate. But first, a 5-mile dinghy ride that I thought better of after mile 2. We arrived at No Name Key to meet some friends. The 4-legged kind, with long noses and hooves. Hey, pig, 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 pig. Hi, Squishy.
He wants to become your new boat pet. Ah, here comes another one.
Is it big? Is it the mom?
Nope. The mom's eating trash.
Trash bandit.
Oh, I'm playing that game again. Okay. No!
New
Leave.
boat mascot.
Should we call him Bacon?
Yeah, you come here.
We're at No Name Key.
Okay.
Squirrel and I celebrate his success with a couple of cocktails at Big O's.
We are done. And the sun is starting to go down. A little bit cooler. And
The music is so loud, but it is beautiful and everyone's super nice, so there's that. But
This is our last night at White Sound. It's been fun, but it's time to go sailing. I've been creating a daily vlog for over 3 years, exclusively on Vimeo. Details in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Lots of love to our patrons for making these videos possible.